Chapter 2 Adaptations in Plants. Learning Objectives, Habitats of Plants, Some Unusual Plants, Terrestrial Plants, Aquatic Plants. The development of characteristics which help an organism to survive in a particular environment is known as adaptation. Only those plants can live in a habitat or in a condition to which they have got themselves adapted. Otherwise, they die out. Plants grow on mountain slopes, on ocean beds, in deserts, and in river valleys. In fact, they grow almost everywhere. Plants differ from each other depending on the surroundings where they grow. Plants living in fresh water are very different from plants that grow in marshy areas or near the seashore. Conditions of the environment which affect plant life are the type of soil, the amount of water available, temperature, amount of sunlight, amount of rainfall, altitude, and direction of winds in a place. Habitats of plants. A habitat is a natural environment in which plants grow. Habitats are of various types amongst the variety of plants that grow on the earth. Some plants grow on land. They are called terrestrial plants. Plants which grow in water are called aquatic plants. Terrestrial plants. Most plants grow on land. Plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. In the plains, trees have lots of branches. These trees can bear the heat, but shed their leaves during winter. Mango, shisham, peepal, banyan, and sal are some such trees. In hilly areas, where it is generally cold, trees are tall, straight, and have a cone shape. These trees have needle-like leaves instead of flowers. These trees bear cones. The pine, fir, and cedar, deodar are some such trees. Spruce trees are found in very cold places. Tea plants also grow in the hilly regions. Nilgiris and Darjeelings are famous for their excellent tea. These plants need heavy rain, but they grow only on hill slopes where water does not remain near the roots. These hills provide suitable conditions for their growth. In hot and damp areas, trees have lots of leaves, but they do not shed their leaves in winter. They remain evergreen like the teak and coconut trees. Some other plants are pepper, rubber, sugarcane, rice, and cotton. Coconut, pepper, and rubber are some plants that grow near the sea coast. In deserts, most plants grow without leaves. Cactus, prickly pears, and palm are some such plants. Plants growing in deserts have spines instead of leaves. Since these plants cannot afford to allow their leaves to lose water, their leaves are reduced to spines. Spines prevent the loss of water, and thus plants retain water. Their green, thick, and fleshy stems contain chlorophyll. Therefore, they do the work of the leaves, that is, of manufacturing food. They also store food and water for the plants. In marshy areas, the soil is sticky and clayey. Clay-like soils do not have enough air for the roots of the plants to breathe easily. Their roots do not get air as the soil is covered with water. So, the roots grow out of the soil and water to breathe. The plants growing in these regions have special roots called breathing roots. The trees that grow here are called mangroves. Aquatic plants. Plants that grow in water are called aquatic. Plants that live in water have special features which enable them to adapt themselves to their surroundings. Aquatic plants are of three types: floating plants, fixed plants, underwater plants. Floating plants. Some plants float on water due to their small size and light bodies. Duckweed, Wolfia, Pistia, and water lettuce are some floating plants. Some plants have swellings on their leaf stalks which are filled with air. This makes the plants light and keeps them afloat on water. For example, water hyacinth. These plants protect some water animals from the heat of the sun. Fixed plants. These plants are fixed to the soil at the bottom of the pond with the help of their roots. Their leaves are broad and they float on the surface of the water. They have their upper surface covered with wax and bear stomata, tiny holes. For the exchange of gas, you must have seen plants like the lotus and the water lily. The stem of the lotus is hollow and light, which keeps the leaves and flowers afloat. These broad floating leaves provide a nesting place for some tiny birds. Underwater plants. Plants like the tape grass and pond weed remain underwater. These plants have long ribbon-like narrow leaves. These leaves arise in clusters from the roots and have no stomata at all. They breathe through their body surface. These plants clean the water by taking the carbon dioxide which is breathed out by aquatic animals like fish and turtles. This is why we put such plants in aquariums. Some unusual plants. There are some plants which eat animals' insects. They are called insectivorous plants. Venus flytrap and pitcher plant are some examples of carnivorous plants. These plants eat the insects by trapping them. This is because they grow in areas where the mineral and water content in the soil is very low. A pitcher plant has a pitcher-like leaf. When an insect sits on the leaf, it traps the insect with its lid-like leaf. In Venus flytrap, the leaf is folded into two halves. When an insect sits on the leaf, the two halves close and the insect is trapped. Plants that are not green. Take a slice of bread, sprinkle a little water on it and leave it for a few days. You will see that the slice of bread changes its color. Something begins to grow on it and the slice is spoiled. Use a lens to see what is growing. A plant called mold starts growing on the slice. It takes food from the slice. This plant is not green. It does not have chlorophyll and cannot make its food. Such plants are called fungi. Mushrooms are also fungi. They grow on other plants, dead animals or plants, or on stale food. Mushrooms are also called toadstools. They are kind of fungus that usually look like tiny umbrellas. Unlike plants, mushrooms do not require sunlight to make energy for themselves. Keywords: adaptation, adjustment to conditions in the environment. Aquatic, animals or plants that live in water. Terrestrial, animals or plants that live on land. Looking back, adaptations are special adjustments in a plant which help it to survive even in difficult conditions. A habitat is a natural environment for any living creature, plants as well as animals. The trees found in the mountain areas are tall, straight and have a cone shape. These are called conifers. Plants that grow in the marshy areas have breathing roots. Carnivorous plants eat insects by trapping them. Fungi grow on rotten food. Dead plants are adapted to adapt